Hello guys, how's it going? So today we have a new dev blog from the old school team, and it's about the artisan skill. So we're going to be seeing their first take on what they plan to do with artisan. Before I go into this at all, I just want you guys to realize that all of this is just their initial ideas. They do want your feedback, and I'm sure a lot of this stuff will be changed based on what the feedback they get. So don't go into it thinking that this is exactly how it's going to be, or that this is definitely coming into the game, because all of this still has to be polled whether people even want this or not. But this is a pretty controversial idea, and I have my own feelings about it. Certain aspects of it I support, certain aspects of it I do not. But one thing I encourage you guys to do is not just close your mind to it completely, because I think that's one of the worst things you can do. It's pretty likely that we're going to be getting a new skill in some form, because I think a lot of people do support artisan. So I encourage you guys to just send in your feedback to Jagex and try to get them to do what you want to do, I guess, rather than just deciding that artisan is shit and that it's not even worth thinking about, because something is going to be coming to the game and it's going to affect you, so you might as well try to make the best of it. But anyways, so artisan is basically a non-combat slayer, and more specifically it will involve these skills right here. So it's going to involve skills that are artisan skills, as they're called in RuneScape 3. I don't know if that's what they're called in old school, but the skills where you're taking raw materials and producing something out of them. So that's runecrafting, construction, herbal or crafting, fletching, smithing, cooking, and farming. And the way it's going to work is you're going to get a task from an artisan master to do a certain skill task relating to one of these skills, and then you'll gain artisan experience instead of experience in that skill. So one concern that I have is the fact that things like construction and smithing and expensive skills are going to be on there. So you're going to have to be spending money to train those skills, and you're not even getting experience in those skills. But then at the same time, if you did get experience in all these skills, then you basically have to do artisan before doing all of these 99s, or else it's kind of a waste, because you'll be getting a bunch of post 99 experience in all these skills. So that's one of the places where I kind of don't really like the idea of this that much. I think that it's an interesting idea, the artisan skill in general. It was one of my lower picks as far as the skills. Unfortunately, I think one of the main reasons that it actually won is because it was the first skill in a very long dev blog, and people didn't feel like reading that entire thing. The overview video that I made for that dev blog was like 30 minutes long, and I think most people just saw artisan and was like, oh, that sounds like a kind of cool idea, and just voted for it without really even thinking that much or considering the other options, which sucks. I have a strong feeling that if one of the other skills was first, then that one would have won, which is kind of stupid in my opinion. But that's how it is, and this is what they're working with anyways. So there will be 5 artisan masters, and you'll have to have the first one. You don't need any requirements. The second one, you have to have at least 30 in 3 relevant skills and level 15 artisan. The third level one, you need at least 50 in 4 relevant skills, 65 in 4 relevant non-combat skills. And the highest level one, you need 74 plus in 4 relevant skills, or 85 artisan. So it's kind of inconsistent. I don't know if there's going to be an artisan level requirement for each of these also or not. A lot of the stuff in here isn't really complete, it seems, but it's sort of just their first take. So you can't just be too harsh on them, I guess. So one of the big things that you'll be getting out of artisan while you're training it is you'll be getting these motes of inspiration, which can be used to create a lot of different objects. So you'll be able to create these creature idols. And what they do is when you burn them, they will give you a damage boost against a certain type of monster for a certain period of time. So there are 3 tiers of them. There's minor, major, and supreme. And they will work against certain different types of monsters. So wolves, goblins, ogres, giants, aviences, demons, dragons, and humanoids. So a lot of good stuff. All of these will be very useful for slayer and bossing and stuff like that. And they go up to a 15% damage boost, 10% and 5%, and then 15% are the highest level ones. And then the next thing is artisan's tools, and these basically what they do is they remove the combat stats from tools and make it so there's no requirement to wield them, so you can wield them on low level accounts that don't have the combat level requirements to wield pickaxes and hatchets. And you'll be able to make 4 different levels of them, which are steel, mithril, adamant, and then the last one, they don't say what level it is. I don't know if they haven't decided yet or what, but you only need 45 mining or woodcutting to use it, so I assume it wouldn't be as good as dragons. So these really aren't going to be that useful to most people for most of the time that they're training. because you're going to be wanting using a dragon, a hatchet and pickaxe and everything. So and most people can just wield their weapons anyways. These are kind of stupid in my opinion also. I mean, I don't want to be bashing on this too much because it's just a first draft sort of, and there's going to be a lot of feedback coming in about this, and they're going to change a lot of things because I don't think Jagex is really that afraid of negative feedback. They are probably pretty used to it by now. So as long as it's reasonable and people are actually giving them good points and not just swearing and yelling and being obnoxious. So the next thing is called Inspired Carvings, and the trinkets can be strung and worn around the neck to give you a chance to mine 2 ores instead of 1 for 28 rocks mined, and there'll be 1 for iron, gold, mithril, adamantite, and runite. Doesn't say whether you'll be getting double XP, like experience per ore. Probably would be, so it might affect mining a little bit, but only really if you're doing iron. I'm not sure if it'll count for Motherlode Mine or not. But sort of interesting stuff. It'd be good if you're mining rune for money or something. And then the next thing is one of the things that I really don't like, and that's superior items. So you'll be able to, with higher artisan level, you'll have a chance of creating these superior items when you're doing things like cooking, fletching, and rune crafting. And rune crafting is especially the one that I disagree with. But with superior cooking, you'll have a chance of making a piece of food that is considered superior, and it will heal 1 extra damage, or it will boost your stats by 1 extra if it's like a wild pie or something like that. Superior fletching, you'll have a chance to make superior arrows, which do slightly more damage than the normal counterpart and disappear less often when being used. And then superior rune crafting is you'll have a chance of making double runes, which is something that I really just think is a bad idea. Nature runes are already at a shit price, and this will just make it worse. And in general, this in its own means that in order to be getting the most out of cooking, fletching, fletching not really because you don't make arrows, but cooking and rune crafting, you're gonna have to have you want to get 99 artisan before doing cooking and rune crafting, and I think that's stupid. Like I hate having a required order of skills to do. It's just as frustrating to me. So I don't support this because of the rune crafting and because of the fact that it will mean that you have to do artisan before these skills for you to be doing the most efficient method to be going towards maxing. And the next thing is clothing that you'll be able to make out of materials that you get from artisan, and this is also, I don't really understand the purpose of a lot of this stuff, because a lot of these things give you a little bit of offensive bonuses to magic and ranged, but the offensive bonuses are really bad, and they give no defensive bonuses, so it's like, I don't understand why you would want this really, unless there's something I'm missing. I'm not really sure. I read through this a little bit closer, and they definitely don't state it explicitly, but it might be the case that these are like sort of base clothes, the way that you're like the way that you look when you don't have anything on, and that you'd be able to equip things over these or something, and then that would make sense to me because they'd give like sort of a base attack, and then you could equip other items on top of these. So I think that might be a possibility. They definitely need to like specify whether these are just going to be regular equipment pieces or whether they're going to be things you can wield items over. But that's possible, and that would be an interesting idea and would make sense, obviously, and I would be fine with that. I think that's a decent idea. But they definitely need to specify about that, because as of now it seems like these are just kind of shit combat items that will never actually get used, so I'm not exactly sure what they really mean with this. So I think overall the artisan skill could be really good if they really changed a lot of things and figured out exactly how it will work so that it'll be effective, not too overpowered, but at the same time useful in the game. And I like the idea that it's incorporating existing skills and stuff. I mean, I would have preferred something like geomancy or the forestry skill, because I think they were just sort of better laid out and are very original and interesting. But artisan is what we're working with, so we just need to make the best of it and decide how we want this to come out. So I encourage you guys not to be discouraged. Just post whatever, like tweet at them or post on the forums on this thread and everything. Link to this thread will be in the description, by the way. Try to get in contact with the JMods because they are fairly accessible actually, and just give them your own feedback and your own opinions and everything. And I think we could end up with a pretty cool skill. It just depends on how it all works out. I think a lot of this could use a lot of tweaking in my opinion, but it has a lot of potential, I think. So check this out for yourselves, guys. Form your own opinions and just try to keep an open mind. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.